Que viva fiesta! September really is my most favorite month in all of Santa Fe, and all of Santa Fe time. I mean, the other months are wonderful, but September just has some unique things. Like, number one, most of the tourists have gone home. No offense, George and Claudia. We're glad you're here, and we're glad anybody else who's visiting us is here. But there's a sort of sense that we can finally breathe. You know, we can put our feet up a little bit. We can take a little bit of deep breath. And you can shut down all the B&Bs that each one of you have in your own homes in terms of all the visitors that come. We love tourists, but it's also nice to sort of reclaim the city just a tad. And September, too, is that time when you can walk down by the plaza or even over to Albertsons and smell green chili roasting. There is no other smell like that in the entire world. And it's also the month of fiesta. Que viva fiesta! A time when the plaza is filled not with art, but with food. Corn dogs, corn tortillas, corn tamales, Navajo tacos. It is paradise on earth. When there's all kinds of interesting things going on, like a week ago, burning zozobra, and yesterday the pet parade where small children dress up large animals and parade them down the main streets of Santa Fe. This afternoon, immediately after this service, there's the historical hysterical parade that some of you will not only be at, but be in. One might call Fiesta at United Church of Santa Fe also hysterical and historical at times. But it's a wonderful kind of homecoming, I remember when I first moved to Santa Fe and experienced my first couple of fiestas, it was a time when the college students came home, or people would come in from living far away, and just to have a big family reunion. And here at United, we have a Fiesta Sunday once a year as well. A time in which we tell stories. That's what you do at Fiesta. Do you remember the time the almost didn't burn? Do you remember the time that horse got away in the pet parade? Do you remember the time my dog bit you? All kinds of stories for the pet parade and all kinds of stories for Fiesta. And we share stories here in the church as well on Fiesta. And usually, always, there's stories of great miracles, big miracles. Muchos gran milagros, many, many big miracles. And usually they have to do with food, which is in itself a miracle. Sometimes we share the story of Jesus with just 2 pesos and 7 panes, 2 fish and 7 loaves of bread, feeding 5,000 people. Un milagro, a miracle. Sometimes we tell the story of el buen pastor, the good shepherd, who has 99 smart sheep and 1 real dumb sheep. And he goes and finds that one perdida oveja, the one lost sheep. And when he finds it, he creates a great fiesta and calls all of his friends in. Lots of fiestas having to do with lots and lots of good food and lots of miracles, milagros. Today, I'd like to invite you to consider another story, not so much about food, but definitely about milagros. It's a story some of you may have learned as a small child if you grew up in a Sunday school or a church. It's about a time when the disciples were in a small fishing boat, a big sea, el mar, and they got caught in a storm. Tormenta grande. So let our hearts and our lives be open to this story from long ago and far away on the Sea of Galilee. Cole's going to read it for us, but we have a part as well. It's in bold. We're the disciples.
Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead to the other side while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. When the evening came, he was there alone. But by this time the boat, battered by waves, was far from the land, for the wind was against them. And early in the morning he came walking towards them on the lake. But when the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost!" And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said,
Estoy aquí, que no tengas miedo.
Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid. Word of God, word of life.
A great story. Big waves, lots of action. Steven Spielberg doesn't have anything on the Bible. So it's a great story, isn't it, Mike?
Sí, y un gran milagro as well.
See, and a great miracle too. Actually, the story Cole just shared about La Gran Tormenta, the great storm, is filled with muchos milagros grandes, many big miracles.
Sí, there's the miracle that the waves didn't destroy el barco, the boat.
Sí, y el milagro, that I can even get my tongue around ours, that the disciples didn't drown.
And of course, there's el milagro que Jesús caminó sobre el agua.
The miracle that Jesus walked, camino, on the water.
Sí, es un gran milagro, enorme,
Yes, that was a very enormous, big miracle.
enorme.
Sí, enorme. But Mike, do you know what is the biggest miracle of all in this story?
Más grande que los discípulos no se ahogaron, bigger than the disciples not drowning,
Sí, más grande.
y más grande que el barco no se hundió, bigger than the boat not sinking,
Sí, más grande.
and más grande que Jesús caminó sobre el agua.
Sí, más grande. Even bigger than his walking on the water.
De verdad.
Sí, el verdadero milagro, the real miracle.
¿Y cuál es esto? What was el verdadero milagro?
Cuando Jesús dijo, estoy aquí, no tengas miedo.
Estoy
I am
aquí.
here.
I am here. That's the gran milagro.
Sí. Cuando Jesús dijo, estoy aquí, that's el verdadero milagro, the real miracle of this story.
No manches. Estás bromeando, ¿no?
I'm not pulling your leg, Michael. No, I'm not joking. Estoy aquí. I am here. That was el verdadero milagro. It meant the disciples were not alone in su barco, in su grande tormenta. El Dios estaba con ellos. God was with them, even in that storm. Estoy aquí. I am here. That was, I think, el verdadero milagro. And it still is. Y es un milagro, a miracle. And it's a miracle you and I and everyone in this room can do.
But I've never walked on water.
Yo tampoco, me neither. But when we see people who are afraid, are in danger, are hungry, or have lost hope, we can also say, estoy aquí, just like Jesus did. Or even better, we can say, estamos aquí. We are here. We will help you in the storms of life. Estamos aquí. That's el verdadero milagro, the real miracle.
Sí, sí, yo entiendo. Estamos aquí. We are here. Sometimes we can perform that milagro and offer that help directly. And oftentimes we can do it long distance, giving our money, our time. But the important thing is that we do it.
Así es. Entendías. You get it. Our world is filled with people like those disciples, caught in el gran tormenta, the great storm. Storms of violence and war, hunger and poverty. Sometimes we see them crowded into un barco on the Mediterranean Sea, just like those disciples on the Sea of Galilee.
And sometimes they're hanging on to un tren, a train, especially La Bestia, the train that brings people from Central America through South and through Mexico and trying to escape the violence of their homelands.
But wherever they are, son nuestros hermanos. They are our brothers and sisters. They are nuestros hermanos, our brothers and sisters. And like the disciples in su barco, they need our help, just like the disciples needed Jesus to show up. No tengas miedo. Don't be afraid. Estamos aquí. We are here.
And that was el verdadero milagro, the
Sí.
real miracle.
See. And whenever we say, estamos aquí, we are here, that's el verdadero milagro, the real miracle.
And however we say that, however we open our hearts to offer love, life, time, resources to those caught in una gran tormenta, that's el verdadero milagro, the real miracle.
And this Sunday, but also every Sunday, God offers us la gran fiesta of this church, of communion, of community, wonderful music, abundant life together, sometimes even a celebration of new life. So let's feast together, and then we go out into God's world to say to this world, estamos aquí, we are here. How can we help?
Que viva la gran fiesta de Dios.
Y que viva el verdadero milagro, the real milagro.
Estamos aquí.
We are here. Amen.
Amen.